So welcome to this class. In this class, we'll be talking about how to add CSS to your HTML file. You want to style your HTML. There are basically three ways to add CSS to it, which includes the inline, internal, and external linking. So we'll be going from the first one, which is the inline. So the inline basically is just writing the CSS directly on the element by giving it an attribute. So let's say for this h1, for example, I can give it an attribute called style. So as I've given it an attribute called style, then I'll simply write the property that I want to apply. Let's say color. Then let's say I want to give it a blue color. You can see on the browser that this h1 is now blue. Then I can as well do the same thing so that you can see. I'll give it a style. Then let's say color again. Let's say I want to give it a brown color. You can see that the h2 is now brown. So this one is called inline styling, which is directly applying the CSS on the elements. Then we have another one which we call the internal CSS, which is the one I did in the last video. So to add internal, all you just need to do is to come to the head tag, then hit this thing. So below the title, I will just write style. So when I write style, I'll create a style tag, then I'll start styling. So what I will need to do is, let's say I want to style the p tag, I'll just select the p tag, then put curly braces, then write something like color. Let's assume I want to give it this color. Then on the browser, you can see that the p tag is now having this color. So let me change the color to something that you can view very well. Let me give it a blue color. So on the browser, you can see that the paragraph is now blue. Same thing goes with the h1 or h2. I can give it a h1, then give it a color of green. Give it a green color. So on the browser, we are seeing that the h1 is now green. So this one is called internal CSS. Then we have the other one, which is called the external. So the external is basically creating a separate CSS file. So let me just go so let me just create a file for that. So if you want to create a CSS file, let's say I want to create a CSS file for this, I'll write something like styles, then watch the extension you're going to use, .css. You can see when I put CSS, you can see the icon showing here, showing that this is a CSS file. I'll hit enter. So I've already created the CSS file. So let me go to the HTML and delete this styling I put here, which is the internal CSS. Then if I remove it from here, then we want to style the h1 and h2. So for you to make your browser to be able to read this file, then inside the head tag, you will use this. You write link. Then as a writing link, you can see this one that says on CSS. You will click on it. You can see that Visual Studio completes it for you. You see the link tag. Then there is an attribute called rel equals to style sheet. Then there's another attribute called href, which you are going to put the path to the file that is your CSS file. So what we call our CSS file is styles. So I'll simply correct this and add an s to it. You can see this is our CSS file. So I can now go over to the CSS file to start writing the style. So remember, we have h1, h2, and p tag. So if I go to the CSS file, I'll write h1, then give it a color of same blue. you can see that the style that I applied here is taking effect for this H1 because I've already linked it on the HTML page. Then if I go to the styles again, let's say H2, I can give it a color of let's say, let me give it a yellow. You can see that the color I gave it is appearing here, so you can change the color to any color that you want. Then for the p tag, if I select the p tag, then give it a color of let's say, which color? Okay, let's say a color of brown. You can see that the color has been applied. So in this example that I gave you, which is the inline, internal and external, the external linking is more recommended for building websites because of separation of concern. It's not recommended for you to be mixing your HTML with your CSS. So most times try to use the external linking. See you in our next class.